Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing fantastic on this Sunday. It is March 8th, 2020, and this is Raphael Garcia here for episode number 49 of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. We are back today to talk about and recap WWE Elimination Chamber, which just ended maybe about 10 minutes ago. It's 10:48, so they ended early. I don't want to say early, but a little bit before that 11 o'clock cut off. But we have quite a bit to talk about from this pay-per-view today. It was very interesting, much more. I think there's much more to talk about than I thought going in when you looked at the card itself. But we're going to break down all the matches, make sure we hit everyone, and talk about some of the big storylines and angles coming out of that. But before we do, I always want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this show. Please be sure to check out all of our mixed martial arts content over on MMA Ratings Net. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at MMA Ratings Net for all of our content there. You can catch our podcast that we do. We usually do a one pro wrestling podcast a week, either on Sundays or Thursdays, depending on what shows are on. And we also do a MMA podcast on Tuesdays, myself and Schwan Humes. But as always, thank you for taking the time to listen to our content. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share to everything that we're doing. We're here. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Anchor, and I believe that's it. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at rgarcia_sports, where I'm always talking professional wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports, and everything just about in between there. So again, thank you for taking the time to check us out. We have quite a bit to talk about today, and I want to go ahead and jump on in to make sure I don't miss anything. I have all of my notes here. I have the whole match listing. So let's go ahead and start talking about Elimination Chamber 2020. Let's start from the top. We're going to hit the pre-show first. So the first pre-show match actually was a tag team match between the Viking Raiders and Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. The match didn't mean shit, so I'm not really going to talk about it. Viking Raiders picked up a win in less than 5 minutes. Then we get probably the gem of the night is what I'll call it, when we get a singles match between Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan. And everyone knew this match was going to be something special when it was announced this past Friday on SmackDown. We was hoping they would get like 20 minutes to work. We knew that that wasn't going to happen, but we were still hoping for something special, and that is exactly what we got. They worked for 15 minutes, so they didn't get the whole 20, but they came pretty damn close. And this match was fantastic. Daniel Bryan gets the win. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but they were doing just a lot of fantastic grappling, a lot of wrestling. The suplexes in this match were absolutely bonkers. There's one that I've tweeted out. It's a GIF, I guess, of Gulak giving Bryan a release German suplex. He lands right on his fucking head. It looks so bad. And if you ever, I tweeted it out. Everyone's probably tweeting it. It's been going around all night. Pay attention to the ref's reaction. He throws his hands up in the air like he just saw someone get murdered. I think we all did, kind of, sort of. Talking about people getting murdered. We're going to talk about that in the main event as well. But man, Daniel Bryan ate it on this on this German suplex here. But there was, just beyond that, there was so much great grappling here. There was a point where they were both in 50-50, which is something I know about from a jiu-jitsu standpoint, where they were throwing axe kicks at each other in the face, and they were not laying off of anything. And you knew Bryan and Gulak were going to be stiff in the right way when they were paired against each other, and that's exactly what we got, because this match delivered in every shape or form. So all of the suplex sequences was fantastic. There was one that Bryan also took over the top rope, which was pretty good as well. There was a dragon suplex finish, or a sequence that led to the actual finish, where Gulak I can't remember. It's escaping me for a second here. But they were exchanging suplexes back and forth, and it was a dragon sleeper. So it was Gulak goes for his dragon sleeper, and Daniel Bryan counters it to end up with the LeBell Lock, where Gulak passes out, which is a great way to finish that, because while Drew was the quote unquote heel in this situation, he was the hometown guy, so I guess that gives him a little bit of a rub there as well. But this was exactly the type of match that we thought we were going to get. And in many ways, we didn't think we didn't think that they would get the time against one another. We didn't think that they would be allowed to work this style of match, but it was great, man. This was one of those joints that got me excited for the rest of the card. Actually, this whole show started out really hot, but it kind of fell just toward the end. And I it's my I saw some opinions across Twitter of who should have won this match, and I do kind of agree with the opinion that Drew Gulak should have gotten the win. Daniel Bryan, he's a made man for all intents and purposes, so he can take a loss in a situation like this. People are looking for someone new to kind of grasp onto, so seeing Daniel Bryan take a loss to Drew Gulak wouldn't have hurt him too much. I don't think it would have hurt him at all. I don't know really where they're going with this angle because Bryan got the win, but there didn't seem to be any anger between the two. He was actually giving him props in the ring, and then he cut a promo afterwards, which was on WWE's Twitter profile, Twitter account, giving Gulak praise. So I wonder where they're going to go with this. Are they going to go with these two guys continue fighting each other, or are we looking at a situation where they may end up being a tag team? And I would all day, every day, a Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak tag team would kill it in SmackDown's tag team division because they're already killing it to begin with. They had, and we'll talk about that in the Elimination Chamber match as well too. But I would love to see that. There's a lot of different ways that they can go with these two men, and I'm wondering what's next for them. But either way, this match between Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak delivered. If you do not watch anything else from Elimination Chamber tonight, be sure to go back and watch this match. And they went 14 minutes and 20 seconds. That brings us to the second match of the day, where Andrade with Zelina Vega faced off against Humberto Carrillo in a singles match for the United States title. And this match, I was not looking forward to it. I thought there wasn't going to be anything interesting to talk about from this match, but they still put on a very good match back and forth. But we know what we're getting out of these two individuals. We've seen, I think Sean Ross Sapp tweeted it out, that we've seen this match 7 times since December. 7. And you got to wonder why, like, why are we continuing going back to this? What really kind of surprised me, we didn't see any bit of Angel Garza, who's been paired or teamed with Andrade and Zelina. So I found it interesting that we didn't see any of him tonight, and it could have furthered the storyline between him and Humberto as well, but none at all. However, we still get the same type of match. It started out very hot again with Andrade sprinting out of the corner and hitting his push kick to the spinning elbow, basically the Judas effect, which was a nice twist. It was a different way of him starting off one of his matches. But from there, they go into a lot of the same stuff that we've seen in recent months. And again, it's good because these two guys are good. Both of the men can work. I mean, Andrade is someone that I think can eventually be in the title picture, the main title picture. Humberto is definitely a mid card title type of wrestler right now. So you know these guys can go. You know that they can deliver from bell to bell. But the fact that we've seen it so many times, I think detracted from what the interest in this match, detracted from the possibility of seeing something new, and we didn't. So we got the type of match that we've seen month in, month out on Monday Night Raw, but we just got it on a pay-per-view, which I think really hurts the overall anticipation of what they would bring to us. So let's talk about some of the, I guess, the bigger points of this match. The Super Hurricane Rana spot was good, where they were both standing on the corner. There was a few "This is awesome" chants, but I don't think really anyone really kind of bought in. They were in Philadelphia, and we know Philadelphia is a tough wrestling crowd. The finish came where they were exchanging pinning sequences, like the Maestro Cradle, the front roll up, all of those typical sequences we see in WWE booked lucha matches. And the end came with Andrade getting the pin, grabbing onto Humberto's tights. So again, I hope we don't see this match anymore. I'm going to Monday Night Raw tomorrow, actually here in DC, and I pray that they don't put this match on. That I don't know why I bought these damn tickets to Monday Night Raw. Cause I know these shows are never that good, but it is what it is. I got floor seats, so whatever. But there's probably a good chance we're going to see these two guys going at it again on Monday. So we know that the story isn't going anywhere. I wish it would, but I wish that they would really move on to something new. And speaking of something new, that's what I thought we would get in the tag team title match. So the SmackDown tag team titles were up for grabs in an Elimination Chamber match that featured, let me pull up. So before I say that, Andrade defeated Humberto Carrillo in 12 minutes and 20 seconds. Sorry about that. So back to the tag team title match, and this featured The Miz and John Morrison, who came in as champions, The New Day, The Usos, Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode for the SmackDown tag team titles. Now this match was the longest match on the card, went 32 minutes 55 seconds with who won this? The Miz and Morrison. They retained their titles. Now let's break down what happened here, because even this match was kind of a tale of two stories type of match. So to begin, we have let me see. So who comes out first? The New Day and the Usos start off, and I was actually having an interesting conversation back and forth on Twitter about the Usos and New Day, because this person was saying that they're tired of seeing them paired together, but at the same time, the same individual was saying that he can't get enough of the Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks. Now, me, I'm on the exact opposite side of that coin. I can watch the New Day and Usos all day, every day. But the Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks, get that shit off my TV. It's not because it's bad, but just because we've seen it so many times and I would like to see something different. I think the Usos and New Day, they just continually up themselves every single time. It could be a simple tag team match. It doesn't have to have any gimmicks or anything like that. It's just every time that they do something together, it works for me. But they started off this match, and this is the first time where it didn't quite work out. Everything seemed a little bit off. I mean, you have Kofi Kingston slipping and missing spots, and the energy just didn't seem to be there between the four men in the match. I'm not sure if I'm just reading into that, or if it was something really there that made this match seem start off a little bit badly. And that kind of continued because the Lucha House Party is out next, and they botched right up the gate. They tried to do a springboard. I don't know if it was a springboard senton or a springboard Hurricane Rana onto the New Day, but Biggie barely catches Lindsay, or was it Grand Metalik? I can't remember which one was on which side, but he barely catches the Lucha House Party member, and it just seemed to be a step off. I will say that Grand Metalik looks amazing. He has his hair out looking like Psychosis. Looked like he lost a little bit of weight too as well. So these guys can go, and I would love to see Lucha House Party in more matches on TV. If nothing else, I think this match kind of raised their stock a little bit, because they delivered in what they were doing and in the moments that they did have, but there just isn't any heat around them. There isn't any heat around them at all. So seeing them do some of the things that they were doing, yeah, they got big pops, but when's the next time they're going to be on TV? Friday can come around, and we may not see them at all. The next team that comes out is, or actually before I even go to that, the match started heating up. So like I was saying, this is kind of a tale of two matches, because it was kind of bland when it was just the New Day and Usos. When the Lucha House Party first came out, seemed like it just wasn't firing completely. Then all of a sudden they picked up the pace and they just start brawling, and they end up on top of one of the pods, where we get Lindsay jumping off onto Big E, and I think Grand Metalik jumping off onto the Usos inside the ring. And it just picked up from that moment. The Miz and Morrison are out next. Grand Metalik hits a Super Hurricane Rana, or a Super Frankensteiner, off the top of the pod. He jumps off the top of the pod onto Morrison, who's on the top turnbuckle, and hits the Frankensteiner to Morrison into the ring. Hell of a spot, and he did it. So I love the slow motion piece of it, because you see him looking at all of his positions. You see him looking where he's going to land, and the little intricacies like that to a lot of these moves are really what kind of sets me off, what makes me enjoy wrestling so much. So as I was saying, the match suddenly flips, and that's when they begin picking up. Then Heavy Machinery come out, and they're just basically big boying everybody, beating everybody up against the cage. And you see an odd moment where Lindsay climbs. You see him climbing onto the turnbuckle, and it looks like he's going to jump onto Otis, but instead he jumps onto the top of the pod, and then the camera angle shifts, so you can't see the top of the pod, and you see Tucker and Otis looking around, calling for Lindsay. So I wonder if something was supposed to happen right there in that moment that he may have forgot, because they're calling for Lindsay. Otis is looking around like he's expecting to have to catch him. Tucker's looking around like Lindsay, 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 and they get into the ring and they start and it looks like everybody's looking around for something to do for a moment. You see them kind of looking at each other, then they just start brawling all of a sudden, and all the men are in the ring fighting it out, and the camera pans back. Lindsay has climbed from the top of the pod. He's climbed on the chain links to the top of the cage, the top of the chamber, and he's rocking back and forth and does a release, I guess, shooting star presses, which you'll call it, onto the pile. Now, it looked from the camera angle that they show, it looked like they almost missed him, first and foremost. So he drops into the pile and he kind of misses Heavy Machinery, who immediately grabs Grand Metalik and hits him with the compactor. 1, 2, 3. He's out of there. So it's like they had a big, big, big moment for Lucha House Party, and they're immediately out. It wasn't even like a minute or two. It was he hit the shooting star press. Grand Metalik is picked up. He's hitting the compactor, and then they're out. So it was weird. You put him in there for a big moment like that just to see him jettisoned in a couple of seconds later. We all knew Lucha House Party had zero chance of winning this match. We knew they had zero chance of eliminating anyone, but it was just odd that it was booked back to back like that. It was planned out like that. But in my opinion, I think that they kind of stole the show with what they showed in the Elimination Chamber on Sunday. And then, like I was saying, it kept escalating some of the things that were going on in this match because I don't even remember how he got on top of the cage, on top of the pod. But Tucker, 320 pounds of Tucker, does a dive off the top of the pod, a front flip dive, and lands on a couple of guys outside of the ring. That the cameraman didn't really catch all of it because they didn't catch all of like the aftermath of the guys laying around. But the dude did a front flip off the top, like he's 300 pounds, and what like no one like they didn't give the crowd a chance to take that in. Otis was on the other side, and he charges at Dolph Ziggler, runs. Dolph dives out the way. He not only runs through the pod like we've seen other guys do, but he ran through the back of the pod as well too, knocking the whole thing out, flying out of the ring, ending up by the commentator's table. Had to get and he was basically I put him out of the match. So if you think about, was it last year maybe, or maybe the year before when Nia Jax crashed through the pod and like laid there up against the inside of it? The same thing happened here, but not the same thing happened. Otis went all the way through the pod and knocked out the backside of it. So it was a big moment. Crowd was chanting, "Holy shit!" like they always do. Tucker tried to attack Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler based off of that, and then he gets put out. They get eliminated. And let's see what's next. Zood. Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, they get eliminated next because they're gloating about putting out Heavy Machinery, and then the New Day and Usos attack them. So Roode and Ziggler get out when the Usos hit them with splashes off the top of the pods. Then New Day is out next. I don't remember. The only piece I remember is that Kofi tried to do a splash off the top of the pod, missed, and Miz and Morrison jumped on him and pinned him, and then Miz and Morrison ended up beating the New Day the Usos to retain as well. I'm not a fan of the belts being on Miz and Morrison. I thought this was going to be a crowning moment for Heavy Machinery. I really believe that we were going to end with Roode and Ziggler in the ring along with Heavy Machinery, with Heavy Machinery getting the win to kind of maybe tie up the angle between Otis, Mandy, and Dolph. That wasn't the case. That storyline is going to continue going on. You know that for a fact on Friday. But I don't like the titles being on Miz and Morrison. Like, we don't need that. I think Miz can be a big time heel on his own. Morrison, I'm surprised he's not a face at this time. I don't like this pairing at all. They don't feel special anymore, and they just feel like another team in the mix, even though they have the belts. They've been losing damn near every match that they've had since this one, and when they won the belts back at Superstar Showdown. So why should I, or Super Showdown, whatever the hell it's called, the Saudi show? Why should I care about these two? They don't feel special in any way, shape, or form, and they're just not delivering for me. This match was great. It shows that the SmackDown tag team roster can go in every way, shape, and form, but it doesn't make me want to stop and watch them anymore. Like I've always said, SmackDown is the one show I'm totally okay with skipping. It's on a Friday night. I would rather go out and hang out with my friends, go get some drinks instead of sit here and watch crappy ass wrestling that includes this team, and that could be so much better than what it is. But either way, the Miz and Morrison retain. They keep those titles. But again, it doesn't make me any more excited to watch that show on Fridays. That brings me to the next match, which was Aleister Black and AJ Styles. Now, this match was no DQ, and I'm going to point out one thing that that everybody was talking about that cracked me up right from the start. So this match was no DQ. AJ Styles in a backstage segment before the match made it clear that he intended on cheating in this match. So he has his two guys, the OC, come out with him as they always do. Not surprised. Gallows and Anderson are there, but it's a no DQ match. Why were Gallows and Anderson sitting outside the ring for majority of the match? They did eventually get involved, and we'll talk about that. But they're out there for majority of the match on the outside, and they're cheating when the ref isn't looking. It's a no DQ match. They could have jumped in, beat the hell out of Aleister Black as a trio in 5 minutes. AJ got the pin, go home, collect their paycheck. That type of logic just doesn't make any sense. And you know wrestling is scripted, you know wrestling is fake, but you still just want a little bit of it to make sense. Just a tiny, 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 tiny bit. And this just did not make any sense in any way at all. It was just weird looking. People were picking on it the whole time, and it wasn't distracting, but people were definitely laughing and joking like, this is a no DQ match. Why are they standing on the outside? But still, what was going on in the ring was good. It was a slow paced match, very stiff, very hard hitting. AJ Styles was cheating and attacking the legs using kendo sticks and using all other types of foreign objects. Aleister Black was using his strikes that were looking super stiff. Everything that landed looked crazy stiff, and they were working very well. Again, it was a slower type of match, but it was enjoyable. Definitely more enjoyable, and it was a good continuation of the build that they've been putting on for Black. So probably the big moment came when Aleister Black landed a Meteora on Styles. He was standing on a commentary table, jumped off, hit the Meteora on Styles through a table outside. So that was probably the biggest moment. They get back in the ring, and the OC jumps into the ring. They have him cornered. They jump. Aleister Black start beating him down. The gong hits. Undertaker's in the ring. He is standing there choking Anderson and Gallows, strangling them. AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm. Undertaker catches him, choke slams him. The gong hits again, and he's out of the ring. And then Aleister Black is back in the ring. Black and Undertaker were never in the ring together. So Black stands up, Styles stands up, and Styles ate a disgusting black mass. Like the way he sold it, I think he almost did like a cartwheel round off when he sold it, but he got straight smoked. I haven't seen a gif of that yet. They slowed it down, and the slowed down version of it looks even nastier. But man, he just got plopped. So Black pins him 1, 2, 3. And that is that for that match. Now, the story of this is what's next. Obviously, AJ has been calling out The Undertaker. Again, Taker beat him at Super Showdown there, and he also attacked the OC. So, you know that was a match that they were talking about doing for WrestleMania, but no one in their right mind should want to see The Undertaker in a singles match because he just can't do it anymore. I understand he's everyone's favorite. He's over 50. He just can't go anymore. Even today, watching him in there, the few movements he had to make, he was shuffling his feet like he couldn't even move his feet fast enough. He could barely choke slam Styles to get that win. So we don't know what type of shape he's in, but man, he does not look like he can go in a one-on-one situation anymore. So the solution to that is putting together a triple threat, not a triple threat match, but a three-man, six-man tag where you have three on one side, three on the other. And I think the OC versus Undertaker, Aleister Black, and Kane is the way to go. On one side, obviously you have the OC, three guys, three legit made men. They're gonna go. They can do no, they can do whatever they want. They can do no wrong. But you have the Undertaker, who is Taker. You would have Kane, who I mean, obviously is a legend in his own right and can still work every now and then. You've seen him on shows this year. They will be given the rub to Black, who I think is one who can kind of replace Undertaker as that scary character that people are afraid of being in there with. Different from the Fiend, but someone that can still be built up in the same way. Someone who would benefit greatly from getting some shine with Taker. I'm not sure the direction they're going to go. Not really kind of concerned about that, but I do hope we live in a world where we get Taker, Kane, and Aleister Black versus the OC. I think that would be something that would benefit everyone involved while protecting Kane and The Undertaker. So that brings me to the other tag team division, which the Raw tag team division, where we got the Street Profits facing off against Murphy and Rollins, Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins. 1 second. So the Aleister Black match with AJ Styles went 23 minutes, 15 seconds. So Street Profits, they defeated Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy to retain the tag team title in 18 minutes and 30 seconds. So this was a match that happened. I liked Warren Hayes' tweet about it, where this was nothing more than a good Raw match, period. This is the type of match that you would see on WWE Raw, and that's really all it was. I am actually, like I said, I'm going to Raw tomorrow in DC, and this match is actually advertised for that event. While they advertise a lot of their shows early, they talk about the matches that'll be on the card early. I hope this match does not occur again. It doesn't need to. We don't need to see this match anymore. We need to see the Street Profits go in their own direction. If they want to continue fighting alongside the Viking Raiders and maybe Kevin Owens, okay, they should maybe be fighting the Viking Raiders or whatever. There's other feuds that they can go on, but we need to get away from this one first and foremost, and I hope that we do that tomorrow. So in this match, AOP get involved first. The War Raiders come out and attack AOP. They brawl back into the backstage area. The match continues to go on. Kevin Owens comes down through the crowd like he is going to sit in the stands and watch the match. He has a box of popcorn with him. So he walks down the steps. He actually walks and sits on the commentary table where Seth Rollins sees him, and he starts to berate Kevin Owens. Kevin throws some popcorn in his face. Then, out of nowhere, Angelo Dawkins comes in and hits Seth Rollins with the pounce and looks like he absolutely murders that guy. When he hits the barricade, he flies across, hits his head, and just lays there. And that allows Dawkins to get back into the ring. Him and Montez put away Murphy. They hit him with a frog splash on the top. I think, what do they call it? The paper chaser? Whatever they call that move. But Montez pins Murphy 1, 2, 3. They retain their titles. So Seth and Murphy are out there still, being heels. Kevin Owens gives Rollins the stunner. Then he pours some popcorn out on Murphy and walks away, basically being able to close that match. But again, we know this angle is going to continue, so we're going to get more of the same tomorrow on Monday Night Raw. I'm interested in seeing how they're going to kind of freshen that up. I kind of feel like they're riding everything out until WrestleMania next month, which, okay, I get it, I understand, but they better hope people who are tuning out now, they better hope that people tune in at WrestleMania and tune in after the fact too, because this feels like a Mania season that just is not hype, is not excitable at all, and I'll probably talk about that during the show this week. That brings us to Intercontinental title match, handicap match, 3-on-1, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura against Braun Strowman. Now, the best part about this match, well, two good things happened in this match here. First one, Sami did a hilarious promo backstage where he was impersonating Braun Strowman. I thought it was fantastic. picking on Braun Strowman, using his catchphrases, using his voice. Sami Zayn is a godsend in the professional wrestling world. He's fantastic in the ring, fantastic on the mic. It almost blows my mind that we have a stable of Cesaro, Sami, and Shinsuke Nakamura, and they're nobodies. They're just other guys on the roster. I would much rather it be these three guys with Kevin Owens fighting against Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and AOP than it is with KO, the Street Profits, Viking Raiders, whoever else they have. Because all three of these guys are much more interesting than probably 90% of the WWE roster. Much more interesting. And this match here, it totally blew me. Wasn't what I expected, but Sami Zayn actually wins and he takes the Intercontinental title in 8 minutes and 30 seconds. This is his first singles title on the WWE main roster. And yeah, no one saw this coming. I really believe no one saw this coming because they are doing the kind of angle where Sammy's afraid to face off against Braun Strowman in any shape or form. Whenever he tags in, he tries to hit Braun while he's not looking, hit him from behind. Whenever Braun turns around and gets his focus on, he's running out of the ring, letting Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura take all of the heat. But he gets the victory when they hit him with that suplex and Helluva kick combination, allowing him to get the 1-2-3. And here we are living in a world right now where Sami Zayn has a singles title. And there's two sides to this conversation because on one side you have Sami, who everyone's behind. I mean, I don't think I know anyone who watches wrestling and doesn't like Sami Zayn. I didn't know who he was until he came into NXT, but he quickly won me over there. And I've always wished that he would get more done with him on the main roster, where it looks like that's happening because he has a singles title around his waist. But on the same vein, you have to wonder, what are they going to do with Braun Strowman? I don't understand why they cannot get this guy over. They've talked about it time and time again. Or excuse me, not the WWE, but multiple shows have talked about it time and time again. Why is it that they can't get that guy over? Why won't they just strap the rocket ship to him and let him be great? He can do everything. The man can go in the ring. He is good behind the mic. He's good on camera. He's good on various shows that I've seen him on. He has personality. He has personality if you look across his social media channels. He has size. He has everything. But they just seem to keep stepping him back down the ladder and keeping him in a box rather than let this guy shine. And I mean, he's about my age. I think he's like 34, something like that. He's a big man, so you don't know quite how long he's going to be healthy, quite how long he'll stay around. And then you got to also wonder how long before people start to turn on him, the same way they started turning on the Big Show. You have to wonder how long before that occurs because people get excited for Braun, but it's not as exciting as they were for him back a couple years ago. His pops aren't as big. You don't believe he's going to win the big matches. He should have beaten Brock Lesnar a long time ago, but that doesn't happen. There's no faith that he's going to win the big matches like back in the day. I remember not this past Survivor Series, but the one before that, when Kurt Angle was the GM of Raw. When Raw got attacked by SmackDown, everybody was getting beat up. The Shield was getting beat up. I mean, everybody got that smoke. Everybody except for Braun Strowman. He's the only guy that did not get attacked backstage during that whole segment. That later on that week on SmackDown, Braun was like the last line of defense that comes down when SmackDown's trying to escape and just starts, or SmackDown's trying to jump the Raw guys in the ring. Braun was like the great equalizer when he comes rushing down and starts kicking people in the chest or whatever. He's not that guy anymore. He's not protected anymore. And you have to wonder how much longer they can do that to him before they permanently damage him and make him almost unbelievable anymore. I think they're getting close. I think that they need to figure that out sooner rather than later. That brings me to the main event of the night, which was a women's Elimination Chamber match. And this match featured Shayna Baszler, Natalya, Liv Morgan, Asuka, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan. This match lasted 21 minutes, where Shayna Baszler got the victory. So let's talk about this match, because this is going to be controversial. or this show is going to be controversial just because of this main event. And I say that because people remember shows based on the main event. You see it in boxing, you see it in MMA, and you see it in professional wrestling. If the main event is fantastic and leaves people on edge of their seats, gets people excited, that'll be the main thing that they remember. And they will remember that the rest of the show was serviceable, but it's got us to that great main event. The inverse of that is if the main event simply sucks and it's just not good and it leaves people angry. I'm not saying that this main event sucked. It did what it needed to do when it came to Baszler, but you heard the crowd turning on it. You heard the way the crowd was just not here for it. I don't know if that means they should have switched something and maybe had the Aleister Black match be the main event. Maybe the tag team title match be the main event, something along those lines. But this being the main event, the way it was booked, I don't think was the right decision. So the women did fantastic. Like I love the fact when the women come out there and perform because it's almost as if they tell themselves, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna fuck shit up. Some of y'all might get hurt, y'all might get banged up a little bit, but we're gonna go out there, we're gonna put on a show, and they do that time and time again. Ruby Riott and Natalya started off first. Obviously, it started out a little bit slow. There was so many different storylines being told. There was the Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Liv Morgan storyline that was being told. There's Asuka and Shayna Baszler being told, but for some reason that's not how it ended up going. Let's talk about Sarah Logan because she was in this match and I have no idea why she was in it. I often joke and laugh like this was my first time ever hearing her music. I can't remember the last time she actually got a victory on Raw, SmackDown. I think she has one. I think she's beaten Dana Brooke on Main Event, which comes on Wednesdays on the network. But she was in this match, and I'm just not a fan of hers. She right out the gate, she has two very nasty bumps. One on Natalya, where she hits the double knees and bounces her head off of the. It looked like she hit the pole, the ring post, then the pod. Then she climbs to the top of the pod and she does a dive onto Riott and Natalya. And the way her knees hit Natalya in the mouth and then Natalya's head bounces off the platform, I'm like, man, she's fucking concussed. Like, she's toast. No way Natalya didn't leave that ring without a headache at all. There's no way. But they keep doing their thing. And then the fourth woman out is Shayna Baszler. And that's where shit gets a little out of control. So Shayna comes in, beats the shit out of Logan, just beats her down, taps her out, and then turns around and does the same thing to Ruby Riott, taps both of them in less than 2 minutes. Now, the Sarah Logan one, I don't have any qualms with because, I'm not a fan of hers. I've said that time and time again. But Ruby Riott is someone who can be a women's champion. She has a very unique look. She's a great wrestler, bell to bell. She has the personality on the mic, and she can deliver that character well. She's just coming back from injury, so she had a lot of hype around her, a lot of excitement around her in that sense. And she gets her ass beat, and she gets choked out. Doesn't even stay in the move for like 10 seconds. She's immediately tapping. Then Shayna Baszler gets her hands on Natalya, slams her into the pod over and over again, puts her body in between the pods while slamming the door shut on her, then submits her as well. Natty's out. So for 3 minutes, Shayna is standing in the middle of the ring. Asuka's on one side in her pod, Liv's in the other, and she's just basically taunting them. They made us wait an entire 4 to 5 minute segment, 4 to 5 minute time frame before they open up the next pod. Liv comes out, she gets her ass beat. Liv gets her head bounced off of the metal. She gets her bounced off of the pod as well. It just got brutal. Then I don't remember how they got back to the other side of the ring where Asuka was, but Shayna Baszler finishes her by hitting her with the Karafuda clutch while sitting on the top rope, hanging her off the top rope. Her feet are basically dangling there. Liv doesn't tap. She gets put to sleep. So she's out. Asuka comes out and her and Shayna have maybe about like a 7, 8 minute singles match. Not great. Not great at all. I thought they were going to tear it up. I thought it was gonna be like an NXT style match, but it wasn't. I thought they were going to. I thought literally when I looked at the clock, it was only like 11:25, 11:30 maybe when Oscar came out. So I'm like, yo, they're about to get like 15 minutes to tear it up. 15, 20 minutes. Did not happen. Oscar gets beat. She gets choked. She goes to sleep. So let's talk about the ramifications of this storyline as a, or not necessarily a storyline, but this booking as a whole. So backstage, Becky was watching on a monitor because the winner of this match will face her at WrestleMania for the title. Everyone in their right mind knew Shayna Baszler was winning this match just because of how she'd been booked weeks prior, attacking Becky Lynch mainly talking, but she's the only one that Becky's really been talking to as if she's the only one that has a chance to win this match, which was clear as day here. And I understand that they're trying to get Shayna over as a credible threat to Becky Lynch, and they could have done that. But we cannibalized the whole Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan angle, which didn't necessarily have to be a big moment, but that could have been a nice match on a pre-show somewhere. That could have been a nice match on a card somewhere. That could have been a nice match on a Monday Night Raw. But here we are, International Women's Day, and we have one women's match on this whole entire card. So they completely cannibalized that. Asuka, one half of the women's tag team champions, her and Shayna Baszler could have had a great, maybe month-long feud, leading to the winner of them getting a shot against Becky Lynch. That could have been a great match. That's the kind of the match you have been waiting for since Asuka had her undefeated run in NXT and Shayna had her almost 2-year title reign, 190-day title, whatever ridiculous long title reign she had, combined title reign that she had while she was down there. That could have been a great match too as well, but we're not getting that either. If they were going to book Baszler to win this way, and this is assuming that WWE plans out that far, or plans out maybe a little bit further in advance, they should have just let Baszler win the Royal Rumble instead of having Charlotte win it. They could have gotten to Charlotte and Rhea Ripley in another way, but they should just have Shayna Baszler win that match because now she looks strong. She looks super strong. But what else do you care about on the women's roster right now in WWE? There's no storylines outside of the title pictures, and this furthered that. None. Have we gotten a moment where Ruby, Sarah, and Liv could have been in the ring together, fighting it out? That could have been a storyline that could have sat somewhere. That could have been another match on a card that could have gotten people excited and gave you 3 other women as future opportunities for champions down the line. Right now, if it's not Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, or the 4 Horsewomen, there's almost nothing for any other women on the roster. You even have the women's tag team champions, Kairi Sane and Asuka. When's the last time they defended the titles? Was it that TLC against Charlotte and Becky? I mean, when's the last time those titles were defended? Actually, let me pull that up because now I am curious. Let's see. I want to go over to Pro Fights DB real quick, and I'm going to see when was the last time. Let's see, title matches. So here we go. Women's Tag Team Championship. The last time those belts were defended were on January 6th when Asuka and Kairi Sane defeated Charlotte and Becky Lynch in a dark match. The last time it was defended on TV was December 15th, 2019. That was a women's TLC match. There you go. There you have it. These belts have been defended 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times in almost a year. 10 times. Actually, no, that's wrong. That's wrong because they were that's wrong. So, but that's incorrect. So yeah, all of those storylines, all of those angles were cannibalized here. Shayna Baszler looks amazingly strong. She looks like a credible threat, and she's going to help Becky Lynch continue to stay over because there's no way in hell they're taking that belt off of Lynch and putting it around Shayna's waist. But what about the rest of the division? Clearly, they don't care. and this match really showed that. And the way that they delivered it, you heard the Philadelphia crowd turning on them. You heard the Philadelphia crowd booing them before the match even ended. And it wasn't a booing of Shayna. I think it was a booing of the booking. I really don't know how they fix it, but it definitely was a booing of the booking. And now we're in a situation where these women are not over. They may be over as a group, but there isn't enough there for people to really get excited about them individually and get excited about feuds outside of the main event picture. And that's the situation now we're in. And that is how people will remember this card. Um, so yeah, I'm intrigued to see what happens next. I'm going to Raw Monday night, so let's see what happens tomorrow. But we are a little less than a month out. I think WrestleMania is on the 6th, right? Or the 5th of April. Yeah, the 5th. A little more than a month out. Let's see what happens. But right now, I'm not excited. I'm not excited about this picture. I'm not excited about any of the women's title matches. Supposedly, it's going to be a six-pack challenge for the SmackDown title. You have Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. I'm not excited about that. You know why. Now we have this. Hopefully they'll build something and we'll see what comes. But right now, not too. I'm less than well. I'm underwhelmed, as some will say. WWE Elimination Chamber. I would give this match. I would give this whole card. Let me see. What would I give Elimination Chamber? Because I liked 1, 2, 3. The 3 matches got off to a great start. 4, the Aleister Black moment with Undertaker. Okay. I would give it a C plus, B minus, C plus, C plus. It started off hot, really cooled down by the end. Sami Zayn getting a title around his waist as well too. You can make it a C plus, and that's where I'll end with that. So thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. Again, as I mentioned, my name is Raphael Garcia. You can catch me at rgarcia_sports. MMA ratings, where all of our content is for professional wrestling and mixed martial arts. Catch us at MMAratings.net. Go there, rank the fights, tell us what you thought about the action, like that great women's fight from UFC 248 last night, or tell us how interested you are in upcoming fights as they are announced. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at MMARatingsNet, where you can see news about all of our content. We post all of our written pieces there, all of our video content there as well. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at MMA Ratings, where you can catch this podcast, which is usually every Thursday or Sunday, sometimes Friday. We have an MMA Ratings podcast, which is every Tuesday with myself and Shawan Humes. And you can also catch us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple, Google Podcasts, and Anchor, and everywhere else in between there. Again, I'm Raphael. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the show. Have a great start of the week, everyone, and be safe.